right, everybody, if you could click down below, click subscribe for me. It makes all the difference in the world. Please help me with my numbers. Click subscribe down below. Thank you, everybody. All right, everybody. Today is Louis Luzzo Day. Now, he has such knowledge and just has a way of explaining this life in the reality that some of us may or may not realize we may or may not be living in. He is so much fun to listen to. He is on Facebook, Louis Luzzo. He's has the kitchen wrap on Facebook. He's on YouTube. I will link all you up. Today is going to be a wild ride. You might want to get a notepad and paper. You might want to just take a deep breath and get into your nice Zen moment, because you're going to hear things that may not make sense to you. They may make sense. They may not make sense. All I ask is that you listen. Don't be afraid to hear what you're going to hear. You can agree or disagree. You're allowed to do it. That's your life. But he is a wealth of knowledge. He is so much fun. This I really don't even know what to expect from today, but I can tell you from my very first introductory call with him, I was in hook, line, and sinker. I thought this man was so much fun to listen to, had so much to say. I couldn't wait to have him on my podcast. He's finally with us. So I don't want to hold out any longer. I can't wait for you guys to meet Mr. Louis Luzzo. All right, everybody, the man of the hour, Mr. Louis Luzzo. He is with us, and I am so darn excited for this podcast. This next hour, 2 days, 4 days, I don't even know what this is going to turn into. It is going to be earth-shattering. Your brain is going to explode, and I can't wait to do this journey with all of you. So, Louis, talk to everybody. Who are you? How do you know this? How did you come about? Tell us your story.
Boy, my story is so convoluted. People have told me for a long time that I should be writing a book about my life. It's been a kind of crazy ride. I'm just some guy from New Jersey, living in paradise, living a life that I love and want. My second go around. And I've been a guy who's been able to experience some interesting things, always on the periphery of crazy. My family will tell you, hey, you know, it was always at the family barbecues, it was always, what's Louis doing now? And that really was the life of I was brought through a lot of things through my life. I've been a lot of guys. I think that the song by Sinatra, That's Life, really sums me up best. I think I've been a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn, and a king. I've been up, down, over, and out. And I know one thing, here I am. And it's about survival. And there's been a reason that's happened. And that's just, let's blow some minds right off the bat. That's just in this lifetime. In this lifetime, I've been led through so many things in this sleeve, in this body, to where we are now. And we're at a very pivotal point in history. We've been here before. I've been here before. It hasn't worked before, but it's working now. We feel a change. That's the first thing I can say. We feel a change. There's something going on, and we all know it. We can all feel it. There's something happening that's just odd, that's just off. This has been the longest 6 months I can remember in my lifetime. I'm 60 years old this year, and this has been this 6 months seems like it's taken 5 years. And I know that I'm not the only person that feels that way. And the reason I feel that way, I kind of dodged your question about who I am.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's easy to find who I am, and I'm Googleable. So if you put
I'll make sure you're all linked up. I have all your links down below.
Luzzo Senior. My story is out there. What I've been, what I've done. You know, I've got 5 children. I'm a grandpa. I'm 60 years old. I'm 12 in my head. I'm a microbial amoeba in terms of the lifetimes that I've been involved in terms of where I am now at 60. There's been so many things that have gone on to get us to this point, to get me to this point. I've done all the things that have been crazy. I've been in the public eye. I have done food. I've been a businessman. I've been a musician. I've been a dad. I've been a salesman on the floor. I've swept the floors. I've changed the light bulbs. So there's not much that I haven't done. And the quick update is 2014. I got finally stopped by the universe and told, okay, we need to back you up now, take all those things you've been learning from this lifetime, those lifetimes, and stop you. So I died. I had a heart attack. I was dead for 1 minute and 17 seconds, I think, thereabouts, on the table, completely blank, out, gone, died after going through a 4-hour heart attack. And people always ask, what did you see?
Yeah. Did you see that light? You know, yeah.
No, and here's what I said. It was interesting. It was empty, and it was black, and it was nothing. And I always thought that odd, because everybody said they came back and they saw the light. They saw the light. You hear people who've had near-death experiences.
Yeah.
Some of my peers who are talking about the things we're going to talk about now, the David Greers, the Greg Bradens, the people who are talking about esoterics and the change that's going on now. One common theme across all of us is that in this time frame or this timeline, we have all had a near-death or death experience.
Really?
Yes, it's very interesting. It's very odd. It's a connection. Another connection people can look up is blue blood. We're also blue blood babies, which is that when we come into our life, we're usually with a Rh negative mom, which is very, very rare. That's Atlantean. And we come in with blood that's not compatible with being a human. And that's because we're not.
Okay.
We're star seeds. We're from different places. We've been here for millennia. We keep reincarnating. Now let's blow some minds, right? Get right to it. We keep reincarnating, so things are happening, and we don't come into this world the proper way because we're choosing to be here to help this happen.
Yes.
To help this happen. And so we each come to that conclusion a different way. I didn't know that until I was put out and emptied, so to speak. You know, you harken back to what Jesus said, the empty vessel. The vessel can't be filled up if it's already full of what it thinks it needs to fill itself up with. Now, I had tried to be, to use that as a metaphor, I had tried to be famous. I had tried to be out there. I had tried to be a number of things in my own incarnation because I felt this need to be in the public eye since I'm a kid. Music, writing, the food thing with all the celeb chefs and so forth. And none of that was allowed to be done because, like when Jesus said to Mary, it was said to me the same way, it's not your time. You can do all these things and we're going to give you a little bit of notoriety, but this is before your time. So in that, I filled
where you are today.
Absolutely, they were practice runs. I didn't know that at the time. There were also humble runs. They were broken runs. I mean, I'm disabled. I'm broken. I don't function correctly in this body, and nor am I supposed to. But long story short, we've all had those moments where we've lost our lives. This year, beginning of 2020, I had an experience after doing some things online again that I wasn't supposed to. Got caught up in the Q thing that happened back at with the election. Got put in a box. Got taken aside by some friends. And waylaid that, you're putting out too much too soon. That's information that shouldn't be out in the public eye, blah, blah, blah. So they put me in a box, and that's public record, can be checked. So I got woken up for this purpose.
Okay.
And I always wondered why I had not seen anything when I had my near-death experience. I always heard it's the light, it's wonderful, I'm going to see grandma, I'm going to see grandpa. I saw nothing. And
that would have scared me. I would have been like, oh my God, I'm going straight to hell.
Well, at first, what it did for me was it convinced me in my ego that there is really nothing. So I was right. See, I'm just going to go for it. And then for some reason, I decided to go on what was called a sabbatical. I moved to Florida. I moved to Miami. For 6 years, I did nothing but search information, search for things on quantum physics, things I would never look for, The list of things that I researched and found out about: molecular biology, quantum entanglement, how the atom works, things that are going on in space, science, our
You're
bodies,
researching for
esoteric.
hours. That's
I
a
have
lot of information.
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, 6 years worth,
Yes.
6 years worth. And I didn't understand why. I was got this search. You've given me all this. I finally said, you've given me all this. What is going on? And bang,
What's my purpose?
in January, I was woken up. A very traumatic experience, but I was woken up. It's usually how it works. To be told who I was and what my job was here. It's kind of scary when you think you're something and you realize that you're not. Now, as an old soul, as they call me, which is what they refer to me as, a very old soul, it comes back quickly, and you find out that you chose to be asleep. You chose to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself, chose to be something that actually was always connected to our creator, our infinite creator, our one source. And that there's a lot of things we don't know. And when that opening and that awareness happens, you see a lot of things that you didn't realize you were looking at, that are connected, that are part of a matrix that you're living in that you didn't even know was a matrix. And all of a sudden, like a lot of people that I'm going to talk to with you, and I'm going to refer to you all as Neo.
Okay.
I was Neo, except I got the crash course because I'm supposed to give the course.
Yeah.
Now, who knew? Didn't know that. Now, my public life, the things that I've been set up to do, all researchable. Everything is out there. There's I have nothing to hide from, nor can I hide. I was damaged in 2002, working at Ground Zero. I slipped, broke my neck. I was a volunteer there. I got put to work cleaning up the devastation that was Ground Zero. It changed my life because I broke my neck. I have a titanium plate. I'm disabled. I'm in pain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's made my hearing go. It's making my teeth fall out now that I have to go do something. I mean, it's the effect of my physical pain and suffering has been absolutely devastating for someone who has all this light and life inside and not knowing why. But it's in order to be able to connect.
Okay.
The trials and tribulations that we go through, that we choose to go through here as light beings or light workers and or starseeds, is so that we can learn lessons that we can then pass on in the next iteration of what's happening. And there are some things happening now with disclosure wise. So I wasn't sure why you called me and why you got in touch with me. And I asked my guides, why would you guys get in? And they said, well, it's time. And I said, oh, now it's time. I'm not ready for it to be time now. Wait, yeah, I'm not ready for it to be time. I was ready back then, but that was not our time. So now I'm on the clock now. I've been recruited back into the fold. I know what my mission is, so to speak, here. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm a scribe of the Akashic record. I'm also a herald. So my job here, very simply now, is to give people answers and or send them to the places or people that have those answers. I'm kind of like a living Wikipedia guy for my Father in heaven.
I honestly, I'm on the edge of my seat. I just could take this in. I don't even want to interrupt you. I feel bad if I'll throw out questions.
Well, please do, because I'm so verbose and they've got so much going on in my head. Okay, imagine I've got we've all got this. I'm going to speak straight to it. We've all got this council of 12. We're born with that. We're light beings inside. This is a biologic sleeve. We are the quantum computer that our scientists keep looking for. When they get that, they'll realize we're the quantum computer inside our head. Cerebral cortex sends the signals. We get the signals through our chakra here, our heart, comes through the ether, okay, hits here, goes into here, and then creates our universe, which we now see on our eyes, which are our screens. We are VR. We vibrate at a level that tells this cortex that we're doing something and that we're alive. and that we're here. Just like when you put the goggles on and you put the gloves on, you're there, whether you think you're there or not, because all that's doing is overwriting your signal from the cerebral cortex. Okay, Neo, you don't have a thing in your head. Okay, you're not laying on a table. It's already been done for you. The creator set it up that way. The pineal gland, the thymus, it comes in here, it gets sent to the quantum computer that sits on this biological sleeve that's perfect.
I love it. This is why this is when I hear people say that we haven't even tapped into our human potential. We've all been just told our entire lives, this is how much you can do. This is what you have to see, hear, listen, think like, be like. And I think our potential, we haven't even gotten there yet. Not even a
We live in the matrix. One of my heroes, one of my friends, and I don't say friends because I know him personally. One of my friends, because I learned so much from him, and I could consider him a mentor just in listening to his messages and hearing his story, is David Icke. If you're familiar with the esoteric, and you're familiar with the matrix, we live in a matrix holographic simulated world. There's a lot on my website, Kitchen Wrap, that will tell you all about that. You can go and see all of that on it's kitchenwrap.blogspot.com.
I'll make sure they're linked up. They'll be able to read
food for the mind, body, and soul. But and that just changed, because it used to be just food, and I never understood that either. But it's about hospitality. There's a connection. It's about service. That's what this Christ connection is all about. That's, by the way, that's the answer on the bottom line. When we go through all the things we're going to go through, we're going to get to on the bottom line. The answer is service and unconditional love. That's the question. That's the answer to the question everybody wants. What is life? Service and unconditional love. That's the answer. There's a whole lot of stuff we need to go through to get there, but you already know the answer. So we went backwards. It's kind of like having a dessert before you first. Okay, but now you're looking
it's a crazy ride till you get to the service and the unconditional love,
because we're going to get back. Yes,
it's worth it.
Right, because if everything that we do when we come at this subject, if we do this together, is done in unconditional love and service, in that we want to just that's why we're here. We are here to grow our creation up. Finally, you hear about, we're going to come back, we're back, we've been back. We've never actually left. But a lot of things have had to happen. It's been a 25,000-year cycle. We'll go through that, the yugas, and how that works, and how this cycle works, and why it's now been lifted. The veil has been lifted, and that's why all of a sudden we're going to see disclosure now. That's the thing we need to do first. So all of those things that I gave you, all the candy, the sizzle, we're going towards unconditional love and the Christ consciousness. That's where we're going to end up. How do we get there? We have to first figure out what is going on. How did we get here? Yes, to where we are now? The world is a mess. And now all of a sudden, we all see it. There's not a person I can say it. There's not a person who doesn't feel there's something wrong. Then there's the next level of people who have built there's something wrong. They call them tinfoil hats. It's funny now, to use a David Icke phrase, the normal is now paranormal, and the paranormal has now become normal. Because we realize
all those people who are considered crazy, people are going, wait a second, there's some truth here.
There's a lot of truth. And the first thing we have to do is find out what's not true. And that starts from birth. We are programmed. We're put into this program of 11 companies that give us everything that we do, own, see, eat, smell, touch. And 6 companies who own all of the media and the social media and the airways and information sources that we get. So you've got 17 companies who run our entire lives from the moment that we come from our mother's womb to now. They tell us what to think, what to eat. As soon as you're able to go to school, you're in preschool. And what are they teaching you? You're gone from your mom and dad and your home environment all of your waking day. And the system teaches you what you're supposed to know, what you're supposed to think, Here's what we eat. Here's why this food is good for you. Here's why this food isn't good for you. And you are a product of that system all the way until right here to the point where you realize I'm no longer a product of the system, because now all of a sudden I see the system. Welcome to the Matrix. Hi, Neo. Unplug. Oh, wait.
Yes.
Wait. And we're going to start with empirical data for you, because you have to break down the old paradigm first. Now, somebody said to me, I speak sometimes over my head. Or over some people's heads. Well, I'd best be speaking over my heads, because I'm not speaking galactically, I'm speaking universally. My Father in heaven sent me here and sent us here to fix you guys. The first time we screwed it up. We screwed it up again when we did it in Atlantis. We screwed it up again when we did it in Egypt. We screwed it up again. It's not because we screwed it up. Certain things we didn't know the Father had created and put in line, we had to have happen so that this would be a total universal upgrade vibrationally. So it's not just up. It's waking up. And what's funny here, I'm feeling it right now. What's exciting about this is that we're not just humans. The entire galaxies and universe is sitting here right now with popcorn watching us, because we're the grand experiment. We are the perfection of what he had in mind. We are in his image. In his image means we are perfect. And the system we've grown up in has told us from the moment we're born that we're dirty. We're full of original sin. What original sin? I didn't do anything wrong. I came here pure as a light being. I just got out of my mom's womb, and I have to start groveling to a system's God and society. And they're going to tell me that I've done something wrong, and you're going to spend your life in subservitude to the guy who created you and made your essence. That's not what it says. That's not what my body says. That's not what my creator told me. He said I was in his image. Why would he create me in his image and then say, I'm going to punish you for it? That makes no sense. Would you do that with your kids? Would you do that to your children? Would you take your children and would you, because they did something wrong that's in their nature that you gave them genetically, that you need to teach them through, that they can work through and make amends for and change and make atonement for and ask forgiveness of themselves for, not me. They don't need forgiveness. We don't need forgiveness from anybody else, by the way, people. We need forgiveness. You need to forgive yourself. That's the first place this starts. Forgive yourself for believing this, because there's nothing wrong with you.
And don't be afraid to believe it. Don't be afraid to listen and believe it. Just listen. And you can't unsee what you see. You can't unhear it. Once it all starts to
there
click,
it is, Sharon.
It's shocking.
That's it in a nutshell. You're now seeing it right before your eyes. It's not something that we can now talk about, the esoterics of spirituality. You're seeing it happen. You're seeing people be awake. You're seeing a group of children be born now, genetically correct, because we've been working very hard to correct the genetics that were bastardized by the fluorides and the calciums and the things that they've been putting in your water, your air, your systems. They inoculate with you. We
didn't question it. Everybody trusted. They believed.
You just go in school, you get in line, and you get your TB.
Followed along.
Exactly. You get your TBD shot. So the first part of this is exposing the system. That's what happened to Neo. Let's use the Matrix. It's the best example we can give you. It was not a design that this is how it could be. All of your science fiction, people, all of your science fiction isn't science fiction. It's science fact that has been for a long time. Your government has been galactically doing business for decades. We've been here a long time. They've been lying to you. There's a secret space force. There's all kinds of things going on that you don't know, and it's all coming out now. World War II didn't end the way you think it did. Bird got his butt kicked because when he went down to the South Pole or the North Pole, wherever he went, okay, the Archons and the Germans were there. That we didn't win anything. The Germans had the saucers and the bell, and they had the stuff from the draconian ETs. All of that's real, and we're going to study that and look at that and find it and everybody's going to be able to go find those things for themselves. That's the key to this. I can't convince you this crazy guy in Florida who says he's this thing from years ago and eons ago and lifetimes ago. There's a lot of us out here right now. You'll notice that. There's 144,000 of us on the planet right now.
Just
And
watch, I'm telling you, just look.
There are whistleblowers of the space program. There are people who are talking like I'm talking. There's the David Ikes who are mentors to me. There are the sages like Ram Dass. There are people out there like Emery Smith and Gaia, which is our network. Hello, when you go to Gaia, we're going to teach you about your body. We're going to teach you about space. We're going to teach you about ET. We have to prepare and wake you up first, and have been doing that for a long time, okay? Because when we appear, because we're already here, and we uncloak, and there's 1,000 ships in your sky, you need to be ready for that. And it's happening because it's going to happen little by little. Disclosure is coming, and disclosure is not just about ETs. Disclosure is about Jesus and the real deal with who he was or who they were. There's no such thing as an immaculate conception. I love you all very much. And that was a beautiful, precious thing, but it was artificial insemination. Why is it so easy to think that a spirit came down and said, poof, you're pregnant, as opposed to the fact that we came down and said, here, Mary, we need you to carry this avatar for us because he's going to fix things. It's that easy. It's that easy. It's just it's a perception mindset. So when you know that the matrix is there and you know how it works, then you see how it works. You see that it's all connected. We have 12 companies, 12 families that have run everything for a long time. Because
and this is, anybody out there listening and those watching, that is an actual documented fact. And you could say, oh, well, prove it to me. First of all, prove this to yourself. Go do some research, because trust me, I had to, millions of us had to.
This isn't about getting the answers.
Go look for it. If you really want to see it, you will look for it, because you can find it.
Look, we all have this question in our brain. I was going to talk about my physical life. I was born here. I did that. When she asked the question, when this lovely lady asked the question, so tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? My home is 740 years away from here. Part of my heritage comes from Saiph. It's part of the Orion family of stars. Another part of my family is from Altanak. It's the bottom of the 3 stars of the belt. Altanak is the bottom. The right foot is Saiph. That's where we come from. We're Palladians as well. We're light beings. All of us, not just me, crazy people who think, oh, wow, look at this guy. You know, he's 60 years old, got my first tattoo. My first tattoo, it's on my site. There's pictures of it. Dyed my hair blonde. I'm not blonde. But I've been blonde. I've been blonde my whole life. Somewhere I'm blonde. Well, I'm blonde. Syrians and people from Pleiades and Andromedans are blonde. We came here and we seeded you. Things are not what they seem, and we're going to teach you and show you. We're going to show you all the signs, all of that. We're going to talk to you because we need to talk to you. There are things going on. Let's talk about why it's time. First of all, the draconians and the people that have been running your corporations and your planet for a long time that you're seeing, who now invented this COVID thing that was not a thing.
And it was invented. It was created.
The hype was created. The disease was not anything that would kill you.
Nope.
Okay. The 99% of the deaths that were reported were deaths that were going to happen anyway, and or were manipulated to look like COVID. We'll talk all about that. We'll talk about Dr. Fauci. We'll talk about why 1 year checked these things out. 1 year before COVID was announced and the lockdown was announced, Amazon, Jeff Bezos put in an order for 100,000 new trucks that he must have delivered to him by January 2020. Really? Why?
Check it out, people.
Check out who he bought them from. Check out not only who he bought them from, but who he is a part of. And check out who made the CDC test you're taking. And check out what he has to say. His name's out there. I have the information somewhere in my book. Check out who he is, because he'll tell you, let's go right to conspiracy or whatever's about. You can put this in order. The lockdown was done by the model of the pandemic originally was done by Neil Ferguson. Now, Neil Ferguson, he's the one that did the model. We're going to have 3 million people that are going to die, lock them down. So that's what they used. He's the partner in Abdul Jamil Institute. Now, in 2019, Amazon ordered 100,000 new vehicles from Abdul Jamil Institute.
Wow.
The guy who did the model of the pandemic is a partner with. They need to deliver anybody. No, there was in January 2020. Now, listen, the tester, his name is Kary Mullis, Mullis. The test should never be used because it can be falsely calibrated. He's the guy who designed the test. He designed the test. This is the little book of secrets. Now, they manufacture a false paradigm or a false model saying there's going to be a pandemic. The guy who's going to then deliver all our stuff to us in our houses when they lock us in orders 100,000 trucks from the guy who did the model, which was then now proven to be wrong. All of this, of course, now know all came out with the Fauci emails, right? Fauci is, he's just an incarnated Joseph Goebbels. Okay, he's actually worse because I think he killed more. He's done more than Goebbels did. Now, Fauci, his expertise is, here's what Fauci's expertise is. It's called gain of function research.
Yep.
Gain of function. That means you're going to take something and have it gain and be able to do something else. His specialty is solely making a pathogen more lethal and making that pathogen easier to transmit from a plant or an animal to a human. This is what the guy studied. And he's telling us how to deal with the virus he created that didn't actually kill us.
When this fall first started, if you researched it, you could find this, but no one did because everybody was listening to fake media and being told to be scared, being told they're going to die. People listen to it. Now, I am very sorry for anybody who did pass due to COVID and who was sick, or, whatever you want to call it. I don't, I'm not.
You know what we're going to feel sorry for? We're going to feel sorry for the fact that
all of this information was there and no one would cover it. And if you talked about it, you were crazy. And now all the crazy people who are saying this is nonsense, this is created, are finally, people are going, wait a second.
Well, it's more than that.
Over a year ago, people do this. You know how long this guy's been working on this and keeping this?
Unfortunately, it's been, okay. Now, that's where we're going to get to the fact that this has been working. No, go for it, because it's your podcast, and please edit. Please edit. Okay, look, there's lots of proofs out there, but this is part of something that's been going on for a long time. The reason it had to come to this point, first of all, there's a lot of history, ancient history we don't know. We're going to fix that too. Now, we're just talking about the COVID thing because everybody knows something happened. All the emails came out. We now know we were lied to. Okay, it's about culling the herd, folks. We're the herd. We're a commodity. We are and were, up until a certain point, an asset of the United States, and we always have been an asset of the Corporation of the United States of America. We are on a planetary basis, the commodity of Earth to the galaxy and the universe right now by the cabal. And yes, there's a trade system. There's thousands. What you don't know, you don't even know you don't know. That's the craziness about this. The commodity on Earth is earth water is very, very precious. It's very, very sought after all around. We have great minerals. And one of the things that the cabal feeds to the rest of the world, because it's actually a thing, is the esoteric fear energies that some species actually feed on. Fear, war, poverty, pain. It's done on purpose to us as a species because, number one, it's control. It's how they can keep us from ascending. Number two, we're actually a commodity. We'll get to all of that. Now, the Midazolam, Midazolam. This is the thing that is being treated for people in the UK. It's called the process is, it's called, it's got a very specific name, process, but midazolam is used for executions in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
There's a process called the Liverpool care pathway. Learned this from David Icke. You can check out some of that, his information there as well. This causes respiratory distress, and it's given to elderly with COVID respiratory problems, and it leads to their death. And it's done on purpose, and it's called the care pathway, and it's specifically from spring of 2020 on in the UK, and why they sent all these people to the nursing homes was to treat them with these things to cull the herd. It's why we had so many deaths. They are killing people. They are killing people because things are happening on the planet. They're in the last stages of a battle to try to keep control of this planet, and it's gotten that desperate that they're actually going to try to cull and take down as many of the human population as possible. It's worldwide. It was in the 2020 huge stockpile was diverted. You can check this out, of midazolam from France to the UK. And as soon as that happened in 2020, months after that, deaths in the UK spiked at nursing homes where they were transferring people to be treated for COVID on this Liverpool health pathway, or whatever they call it. It's all there with regard to that. Now, it goes way back though, because we talked about World War II, and World War II being lied to you about, and everything that you, all the advances in science that you don't know about.
There's so much disinformation. It's just withheld, secret, whatever you want to call it. They don't want you to know.
If you don't believe in the archons and the things that I said about the Germans having ETs and so forth and blah, 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 let's just go to what you do know. 1,200 scientists, officials, researchers, and special people were taken from Germany at the end of the war and brought here. And they run everything we have in the United States. Everything. And we said, no, 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 no. They weren't part of it. Even though they invented all the stuff that the military is using on you, genocide and killing and this and that, and the ETs and so forth, they're the good guys because they're science. So they're just going to be our science guys. And they're going to run our space program, and they're going to run the banks, and they're going to run the government. Okay. Everything is German, and it all ties back to the 12 families, the Bilderberg things. Oh, come on, people. It's so obvious now that we see it. And she's going to put some graphics up. I know you have a graphic of the 11 companies and everything that they own. And those 11.
This is documented, people. You can find this. It's there. If you say, oh, this is crazy, go look.
Everything that you consume, everything that you eat, you think, you see, is manufactured by 11 companies, run by a cabal of 12 families, okay, who then also own 6 companies that give you all your information.
And these
all your Bibles.
Talking about, they actually have they do videos. They talk about themselves. They do not deny it. You just have to go find it. It is not something they want people to know.
Their ancestors are the kings and queens brought forth from ancient times. The bloodlines of the civilizations we've been told don't exist. Because if we find out that they existed, and we find out the stories that we've been told from ancient history, and the things that they're hiding underneath Giza that I personally know was built, because I know there's things under Giza that run the planet grid of energy that our buddy Tesla talked about. All the ley lines. I mean, it's been since millennia. It's actually a battle we've been fighting for 560 million years throughout the galaxy, when Source decided the law of one and said, I want to experience myself from all these trillions of perspectives. I am everything, but I need to expand. Oh, that was almost like a big bang. A thought process, a song, and create the universe. What does universe mean? Blow your minds. One song, universe. It's one song. Everything is on vibration. It's a song. It's a noise to the Lord. It's a song. It's Sophia. It's mother. It's father creating mother, creating Christos, which is the unconditional love, creating Sophia, which is the ether. And everything comes through the Christos ether. So everything comes as information, and it comes to us, trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of things that are part of this, like an octopus, that all connect to each other and connect back to the source. And he's sending stuff to us and we're sending stuff to him. And it's almost like a computer network of information. What are we? We're electrical impulses. Morpheus said, what is real? If real is what you can see and touch and taste and smell, okay, then it's just electric impulses we pick up from the ether sent to us, sent from the heart chakra. Everything comes through love to the cerebral cortex. We already know this is science. The cerebral cortex then takes that and interpolates it, or does whatever it does, and sends those signals to our brain, different areas of our brain that are coded to decode those ones and zeros in the electrical thing in our quantum computer that makes not only our body happen, but also the intent we speak and the reality we create.
Yes.
VR, virtual reality. So all of that is, and it's all happening at once. Why is it all happening at once? Well, let's get strictly to it. It has to happen at once because there's a big thing going on with that big boy behind you. The galactic sheet is coming. Every 12,000 years, we go through a cycle. It's natural. It happens. It's a cleansing. It's vibrational. Now, one song, octaves. Octaves. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, octaves, okay? I'm a musician. I've been a musician since I'm 6. Vibrations are what create us. We've known they can't hide certain things from us, so when you're born, you know you're in the 3rd dimension. Third? Well, that would mean there's a first and a second, wouldn't there? If there were, they've already admitted us that we're in the 3rd. We live in the 3rd dimension. Well, there's a 4th dimension, isn't there? We already know that. It's the information. It's the Wi-Fi, okay? There's a 6th dimension. We've seen that. It's the ethereal. It's gas. It's a 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 15 dimensions. So we already know now that there's got to be something to that dimension thing, because we're even taught. They have allowed us to know we're in the 3rd dimension. The 3rd dimension is just the amount of waves coming across, and when it comes at a certain point and certain vibration and hits that creation point, that 0 point, it pops into matter and becomes us. It's just a wave. We're just a wave. What we see is just a wave. I'm a wave. I'm talking to you now. You're listening to me because I'm being depixelated. I'm brought into this computer by whatever is decoding this information wave coming to me. It's being sent into the ether. It's being sent to Shannon. It's then being sent to you. I'm just a figment of your imagination. I'm actually talking to myself. If the octopus is correct, if the ether is correct. So all of that has to be explained to you, because what's happening, and what happens every 12,000 years, is extinction level events on Earth. Last time we couldn't get everybody off, but we obviously did a good job and saved people, because here we are. We're still humans. We're still Homo sapiens sapiens. We'll talk about Homo sapiens. We'll talk about Cro-Magnons. We'll talk about the first attempts to make you, to make us, to make the biological sleeve, why it didn't work, why it couldn't work, why we didn't have enough DNA fixes from outside sources, why even in the Bible, they created us in their own image. That means more than one. Did they mean it was the one? No, it wasn't the one. We were created from other beings that were created by other beings that were created before the one, the builder races, the golden lights, the emeralds, the magentas, the ones that came from source and said, okay, here's how it's going to work. Okay, make it work, make it happen. Okay, we vibrationally sing over here, and we get planets, and we get this, and let's put spirits and information, and look at your brain and look at the ether. Look at your brain and look at the ether. They're exactly the same. They're the same, because we're all looking for multiverses. We are the multiverse. We're the multiverses. 7 billion on this planet. How many trillions across the galaxies? There are thousands and thousands and thousands of species. They don't look like us. These are sentient beings. My babies love me. My babies love me because they're sentient beings. They know. They're here to give us life. They throw oxygen at us. There's intelligent work there, okay? Stones are not just stones. They have an intelligent, they're being created by something that's sent to the system. Let's talk VR game. So when you send code to a system and you've played a VR game, you know certain places when you're in the game, you can't get over that wall because the code says, no, that's solid. And you can't do that. Well, that's a rock. How do you think you get a rock to bend the way you need it to bend at Machu Picchu and go to where it needs to go to in the pyramid? You ask it. We ask the rock, would it please help us build these things? And you need to bend like that. That's why you can't bend it like this. You have no technology to bend that because the rock bent itself. There is no spoon. Matrix.
Crazy.
There's a lot we need to talk about. There's a lot we can go on. That's just a taste of what we can talk about. This thing that's coming with the sun. Take a lot of that out, put it where you want it, edit how you need to edit.
No, seriously, I like this conversation. I'm just going to keep it where it is. I have seen a lot of people who are awake, I'll just use that term. And they are making a lot of posts, a lot of references, and my friends they're talking about this, what's happening with the sun. Can you explain that?
Okay. I run a page on Facebook called Earth Catastrophe Cycle. It is about this cycle that the Earth goes through every year that we know about and we've known about for a long time. Actually, it was why NASA was created, and we'll go into why NASA was created. I don't know if you could, they've decided they're going to cut the grass across the way. I don't know if you can hear that. Can you?
No, we're good.
Okay, great, good, we're great. Well, I put the highest filter on our audio. So the sun does what it does. First of all, you see this nice flat picture behind you? That's not how this works. There's a post on my website, Kitchen Wrap, on the blog site, kitchenwrap.blogspot.com, and it's called Expand Your Mind. Just go onto the search and look for it, and it explains to you that we're moving at 70,000 kilometers per hour through space, the sun, and we're going around it and getting dragged. We're Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Then you go the Kuiper Belt, and now these cyclicals are but they're all being dragged. So we're all getting dragged by the sun. As the sun moves, it drags us, just like okay. So we move through different regions of space that are filled with different matters and different densities of plasma, of of electricity, of magnetic electricity, of electromagnetic magnetic energy. Now, one of the things they're learning, and that they've learned and has come to light, is called the electric universe. We're now knowing, and we've come long enough to know that one galaxy or one solar system that we thought was just us, everything revolves around us. Now everything revolves around the sun. Now everything is in our solar system. Oh wait, there's a galaxy. Oh wait, there's 4 trillion galaxies last count. Because as technology grows, so does our depth of knowledge. So does our depth of sight. As we see more into the ether of what we are and what's happening, we see things we didn't see before. So what we now thought, they keep looking for dark matter. Ben Davidson, I love you. He's the best. Suspicious Observers. Every morning he gives He tells us about what's going on with the sun, what's going on about space, and we laugh about what NASA says because NASA is ridiculous. Anything that you hear from the science community is ridiculous. Now we know. Gravity is a part of a greater energy source, because if gravity was the greatest source, you would never be able to jump up in the air. You couldn't do that because it would just be holding you so tight. You couldn't move. You couldn't move gravity. It's not. Electricity, information, light. That's how everything moves. So we know we have an electric universe. So as the sun, which is electrically charged and not a thermonuclear ball that could explode at any time, it receives energy just like we do, just like my cup does, just like Buddha back here. That Buddha is being sent energy right now to be Buddha back there. It's such a tiny little piece of information. So this is a second. This would be first density, first dimension. Here it is. Wow. Second dimension. It's alive. Some say it's not conscious. I say it is. Some say a jellyfish doesn't have a brain. Au contraire. Okay, we have a mammal on the planet that's got a bigger brain than we do, and we don't even realize it. And they come from a different place. The dolphin, which is twice the size of our brain, and has 2 lobes, and can talk telepathically to each other, and can talk to us too if it chose to. We haven't earned the right yet to talk to dolphins, but anyway, that would be, we call animals second. We're third, and that means we're sentient. We are self-aware. I'm pretty sure that everybody that plants go to the sun and plants coagulate, and if you put certain animals in an environment, they will all congregate together. And I'm pretty sure your dog loves you, and love is an esoteric, out of the box concept. So anyway, the sun, it's an entity. Gaia is an entity. Everything is moving up vibrationally and always does. With regard to the physicality of what's happening, we're going through a vibrational shift universally. Everybody and everything is moving up vibrationally. So first density is going to second, second's going to third, third's going to fourth, and so forth. Now, some are staying where they are because they haven't learned the lessons of that density yet. If you've been reincarnated back here as a third density and you're not fourth and fifth and sixth density and you're not dimensionally moving on, you still haven't learned the things that you chose to come here to learn. So you're going to go through them again till you learn those lessons that you need for the next step, because everybody's on the same mission for the one. The sun does what's called a micronova. It spits every 12,000 years, 11,600 years. It changes its molecular structure. It receives from the galactic wave a reboot, if you will. It's been happening. Check it out. Betelgeuse just went off just recently. It's blowing. The galactic wave is coming. We're way overdue. It sends a micronova. Now, in the day that it sets a micronova, it also changes the polarity of things. Gamma rays change DNA, and it spits at the Earth. That's what has happened to Machu Picchu. That's what has happened to all of your great sites across the world. This is what happened 11,600 years ago that we couldn't prevent and get people off planet in time for. Now we can. So it hits the planet as a dust shell, plasma. You can imagine it does a lot of damage. Basically, this time it's going to be India. It basically wipes the planet clean. It also throws impactors in that dust shell because it's plasma that's congealing as it comes back. Takes about 8 hours to get from the sun. Okay, which is why there's a debate on whether it's the sun that does it and or meteorites. Well, it's a combination of both, because some of that stuff gets hard as it comes to the Earth and hits the Earth. When it hits the Earth, it blows the shell atmospherically off the planet.
Okay.
But not all of it. There's a backside. And what happens is when the backside needs to come back around and fill the rest of the atmosphere back in, and it does it so fast and so quickly that what you get is called an instant freeze. Ice age. Mammoths with things in their mouth, in their stomach, animals frozen, biting something. It's instantaneous. It deep freeze, like that movie that we saw with Dennis Quaid. It's kind of like that. It's instantaneous because it's so rapid. We can't understand it. But what also happens during this time? It's a real bad time for Earth.
Okay.
We all know that our planet is going through a change right now. Not only is our vibrational 432 wave or 7.3 hertz Schumann resonance fluctuating now and getting higher, because we're all getting higher. Gaia in third, or Earth, or Terra. Her name is Terra in third. Her name is Tara in fifth. Her name is Gaia in seventh dimension. She's the one who controls what's happening in third and fifth. Our spiritual mother, Gaia, Earth,
Okay.
who resides in seventh dimension. Okay, so she's going through changes as well. And what's happening, we all know it, the poles have been shifting. We're not getting warmer because of what we're doing, folks. There's no such thing as global warming in terms of the way they portrayed it to you. You are not making an impact on the Earth, because when the Earth decides and Gaia decides to spit and the sun decides to spit, you have no choice. We're so arrogant to think that we can, they're seeding us now to try to cool the planet off. Please, when Gaia is going to send up 25 to 30 or 40 or 50 volcanoes at the same time, okay, when she's going to stop rotation because her poles have now switched to the point where they flip, and so north becomes south and south becomes north, and the Earth stops, well, guess what happens? We're moving. We're spinning. How fast are we spinning? Take a pan of water, put it some more shallow pan, walk and stop. What is going to happen? The same thing that happens to the Earth. That's why you've got fossils and shells in the Himalayas, because when the Earth stops, all the planet and all of the water and all the air keeps moving, and it washes over the continents and creates this. When the freeze comes after the thing, it's all that freezes, and now you've got what's called an ice age, miles and miles thick of ice, and it happens cyclically every 12,000 years. It doesn't not happen. It's not going to happen. It happens all the time. And the Earth now, that's just when it spits. Within the next 10 years, the sun is going to EMP us. It's already been deflected a few times by people that are helping us, but it's going to EMP us. Right? That puts electromagnetic pulse. It puts us back to the. It's not something that's recoverable, unless by the time it does that, we've either got people off planet and not in this dimension and system when it happens that can be brought back. Stargates, wormholes. We've been trying to do it last time, and you screwed us up, because the Dracos took over and they've stopped you from doing all of this. Trust me, it's all here. We just got to turn it back on. So all of that has to happen so that we can fix what's going to happen to the planet. All of that is happening. You can look it all up. There's plenty of stuff out there to back up what we're talking about in terms of NASA now. When they realized, there's a thing called the Chan Thomas the Adam and Eve story by a guy named Chan Thomas. It was classified by the CIA. Chan Thomas. Now, why would it's called the Adam and Eve story, and guess what it tells? It tells the whole story of what I just told you. That every cyclical, 25,000, 12,000, it's a clock cycle. The sun does what it does. And it spits, and the Earth goes through changes. And it's extinction level events. It wipes all of the life off the planet, okay? Microbial as well as big things, dinosaurs. It happens all the time. And they made this, and they classified it.
Why would that? Did they not want the human race to know?
They found out that they had no choice. And it happened after the last. In 1943 or 49, and in that area, we had a really bad solar event, and it scared the bejesus out of them. It scared them to death, and they needed to know, whoa, we just saw something that could potentially wipe out the human race from the sun, and it was an EMP. It burned all of the lines. It burned all of the telegraph lines. That poles actually caught fire. engines exploded, nothing worked, okay? Electricity. Were that to happen now, our grid goes down, there's no coming back from that. We can come back from it, but they've hidden it too long.
Okay.
That's why everything's coming out at such a rush about ETs, about Earth, about Jesus, about this. They have to quickly tell us all what, because it's almost too late. And the ETs have said, and our creators have said, okay, it's time for disclosure. You're not in charge anymore. And if you don't tell them we're gonna, well, that's where we're at. And certain of us have been tasked to tell the story. But they went to the moon to find out on the Earth, there are these little glass beads, and they come from only one place, a plasma discharge from the sun.
Okay.
They wanted to see if that was on the moon as well. And if you look at the moon, go to the moon, back to the moon transcripts, and the conversations between the guys on the moon and the guys back in mission control, they're talking about, yep, there's full of them. This whole rock, yeah, this whole side of this rock is full of the glass. They're looking for these glass beads. I forget what they call them right now because we're talking about so much stuff, but there's these glass beads. They went there to see if they were there. And then they said, oh shit, they're there too.
They're there.
Okay. And the strata and everything we're now learning from the ancient texts is now telling us what we're not telling the public, which is this happens and you guys better keep looking up because your asses are going to be fried, and it happens all the time. That's why we all went underground. That's why we put cave drawings of not ETs. Those are plasma. Those are plasma things that they were seeing in the sky, because the sky and the earth and things were going crazy because the earth was spinning. Venus was coming by. The moon was just moving into place. Oh my God, that's not ETs. It was happening. Lots of things happened here. There's a history we don't know anything about, but the sun thing is important, and that's what's the catalyst for all of the information and crazy things you're starting to hear that aren't now crazy, that you've been told is crazy, because you now need to know. You need to know when ET comes that he's coming to help fix the stargates to get us off planet, so that you don't freak out and start shooting bombs at him.